All right, so I'm going to simplify what we just went through a little bit here. Share volume is mutable, and it's based on the cumulative time invested. So that's what we're proposing in a regenerative economy. Again, the extractive economy, volume is fixed, so that the majority shares can still be controlled by those in power. Our price in the regenerative economy, it's fixed. It's $1.25 an hour as the entry point for every service that you provide. Okay, so that's not services you receive, but services that you give, that you provide. Price is mutable, and it's based on the competitive variables. So again, those competitive variables are kind of our market manipulation, the illegal short selling of counterfeit shares, media manipulation, kind of insider trading, government, sometimes government involvement. So all of these things, those secret meetings that happen behind closed doors, are all contributing to manipulating our emotions to drive the price up and down. So what that does is it shakes out the little guys and consolidates the power of the big guys. Market share is comprised on an economy based on 68 trillion hours a year. So that so that is the assets that we're looking at. We propose assigning a value of about a dollar per hour, and so we raise that to $1.25 so that we can still function in an extractive economy. But I expect that will go down to being a fixed price of just $1 once once things balance out. Market share is comprised of market share is based on a ballooning $1 trillion debt. I keep saying 277 because that was the number I was given back in the fall. It's more than that now. So, okay, we're going into really deep stuff here. I'm not going to go into this too much, but the trend analysis of a regenerative economy is based on how quickly it takes people to understand, at least on a functional level, to be able to function with this information, to be able to participate in a time bank. So we analyze the trends on how quickly it takes people to grok this information. And it's a lot. I understand it's a lot. And anytime you need to stop this recording, please do, and take notes. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can email me at admin@karmicmargincall.com. The trend analysis is based on supply and demand in an extractive economy. So really it really is a measuring of the cumulative emotions of people, and how they interact with businesses. It's based on competitiveness. So again, regenerative economy, what I'm proposing today is based on collaboration. What we're in the middle of right now is based on competition, and competition, when escalated enough, leads to war. War leads to control, leads to poverty, leads to social inequality. Okay, so in the extractive economy, the big money controls the market by retaining majority shares. So, so the big bank organizations, they retain the right to the debt, so they retain the control. And that's done by secrecy. That's done by, kind of pulling strings on both sides of legal and illegal activity. So that's a deep dive conversation in itself. The system is debt-based, and I'm going to go deeper into that as well. So it is about control over, keeping people obligated, to paying off debt. It's debt-based just to be alive. So that's the mentality that we're working with. Power flows up to the top and is consolidated at the top. Debt flows down and dispersed amongst the majority. And it creates polarization by creating conflict, even between economic theories. I mean, how many wars have been fought between this idea of capitalism and socialism? Really it's just a struggle between egos, because there's value in both. I think what we're working towards is how to be more capitalistic with our time and more socialistic with our material resources, what we need to live and survive. Centralization is the goal, and they've accomplished that. I had this conversation earlier in the week where very intelligent people are just, they don't know what to do. They're trying to wrap their mind about, how do we get past this? How do we win? It's like, it's not a matter of winning. They've already won. They've centralized, the banks. It's done. It's over. Concede that victory. Let them have that victory. Let's play a new game now. I mean, that's really all that we need to do, is to recognize that they've accomplished their goal. I mean, we're at a $300 trillion debt and counting. They won. Okay, let's play a new game now. So the regenerative economy. So in contrast to that, the investment of time determines the ownership of shares. So the more time you invest in this, the more ownership you have of the bank, of decentralizing the bank. The system is time-based, so that it creates exponential returns. So because of the minimal investment per hour, your ability to create exponential returns, exponential ownership of this system, is based solely on the time you invest in each other. Power is reallocated via equal partnerships. So it's the kind of thing that nobody really goes anywhere unless they can be where they're at and look at the other person, look at their partner, and collaborate effectively, giving and taking. That's how power is reallocated. Is not by trying to ascend up some corporate ladder, but by integrating and honoring everybody's contribution and ideas. Debt is reversed. The polarization is transcended by observing each individual's social capital. So you're kind of looking at a hybrid now of socialism and capitalism. Again, this is really going to be a far out concept at this time, because we're so competitive. But the idea is to become capitalistic with our time and socialistic with the world's material resources. Can you imagine having access to a $5 quadrillion economy, how many lives we would save and how many problems we would solve? Decentralization is the goal. I mean, really, what this is really about is acknowledging that everybody has value, and we all deserve, to explore that value and contribute that value, and receive the intrinsic value of sharing our gifts. So I'm going to throw some numbers here. All right, in the extractive economy, as of fall of 22, this is a $277 trillion debt and counting. What that means is, if we break it down per capita in 1 year alone, this year alone, we, just for being alive, every hour is a liability of $4.07, 4 American dollars and 7 cents. It doesn't matter how successful you are. It doesn't matter how many cars you own. It doesn't matter how many homes you own. It doesn't matter how much equity you own in a business. It doesn't matter how successful your business is. Every human being is being exploited at the tune of $4.07 and counting, per hour this year. Because the more we go unaware of this, we could reverse this in a year. But this is what's being taken from every hour we spend living in an extractive economy. What that means is we're being taken for $35,000 a year annually. I mean, again, it doesn't matter how successful you are, your life is really only worth that in an extractive economy. So over your lifetime, per capita, if you live to be the 72-year average life expectancy, you're being extracted for about $2.5 million. So that's over your lifetime. In the regenerative economy, we're talking about 68 trillion hours annually, which can be converted into dollars. And that is a 4.9 quadrillion hours spread out over a 72-year average life expectancy. So we're looking at generating an equal partnership economy that is 20 times more, I think 20 times more than the current debt-based economy. I think I did the numbers. I think it's only like 5.5, 6% of what we could be generating if we shared equally, if we were more generous with our time. We set that as $1 asset an hour per capita. So instead of the $4 being extracted, we see time as an asset to the tune of $1 an hour, which can compound upon itself based on the time that we invest. So what that means is if we're just functioning at 5.7% capacity, that means if only 6% of the world understands this system enough to function. You don't have to master it. I mean, a lot of the stuff that I'm covering here is about mastery. You just have to have kind of like a motivation to want to participate. If 6% of the world population just feels motivated to participate, we can reverse that global debt, probably within our lifetime, and create a $35,769 asset, each person that participates in that system, so that reverses the debt, and we start off at ground zero. If we function at 100% capacity, that means if we balance between a regenerative and an extractive economy, and that is really just contributing minimum amount of hours, to a regenerative economy. If we're functioning at 100% capacity where everybody in the world is participating in it, we're looking at an average bank account of $630,384. That's an average bank account for everybody. It's kind of supports this idea that, the world, the earth, really can support everybody. It just can't support the egos of billionaires. So here's something that I'm going to insert here. Corruption, competitiveness, greed, fear, sociopathy. It costs every person on this earth an average of a $600,000 bank account balance. This is why there is so much invested in trafficking, poverty, war, hunger, manipulation. This is what I believe is being hidden from us. That's why there's so much invested in this competitiveness. Okay, if what I am sharing with you today resonates with you, I'd like to invite you into a deeper conversation about it. Again, if you are considering yourself as a change agent, a thought leader, an influencer, I am offering a certification program where we can master these skills of fellowship facilitation and understanding time bank brokering, reverse market mechanics. So I'll tell you a little bit more about that program. What are the benefits, what is the value of it, and how to be involved. So there are two courses. There's the Fellowship Facilitator, where if you not really resonating with the numbers, if you're not really resonating with the accounting, if you're not resonating with how to change the economy, that's okay. It's not required. But if you are really fascinated with the idea of cultivating emotional intelligence, resolving conflict, the Fellowship Facilitator program is available. We'll be doing 10 hours of group study in a small group of about 4 to 5 people, 10 hours of independent study, and those 10 hours are all creditable hours within the time bank where you will be accruing compound interest for your independent study and service. You will be participating in a fellowship, again, of about 4 to 5, 6 people, where you learn about each other, learn about your ideas, and find the interconnections. You will learn how to facilitate your own fellowship, and that will earn more hours as you move forward. You'll be designing your own course. And you might already have a course that you have designed. So the idea is, not to reinvent your wheel. It's kind of now, how do we integrate, this new financial system into a course that you might have already designed. And if you haven't designed one, then, you will design one during the course of the fellowship facilitation program. You'll have rights to all the video that we generate, and that is all video that you can also use to accrue hours. One thing I'll add in a little caveat here is that we are establishing an online content providers union. So in order to kind of receive financial compensation and to accrue market share in the bank, your content your content that you generate or that we generate together will be applicable, will be able to earn compounded passive interest and income. You will become an owner member of our bank, so that's a given. So that's that side of things. On the time bank brokering, we follow a similar syllabus. Again, there's 10 hours of group study where we really go into the history of time banking, more of the details of reverse market mechanics, how to help other people understand it when they're ready to understand it. Again, independent study as well. Again, these are all creditable hours, so you by the time you complete both courses, you would have already fulfilled everything you need to do to receive a 7-figure income. I'll get into that in a little bit. So you'll get a comprehensive time banking curriculum, which we are in the process of developing. And here in these early phases, especially this year, which is all about fellowship and coming together and having enlightened conversation, we'll be developing the curriculum to help others understand it. I recognize right now this is all so much information, it's a blur. But your feedback and your input will help all of us create a curriculum to help others understand this in a quicker way. A comprehensive reverse market mechanics curriculum. So a lot of the stuff that I talked about, at the end of this presentation, we're going to really do more of a practice deep dive into the theory and put it into practice. Again, video content rights. And that's subject to creating this online content providers union. And not only will you be an owner member, but you would be a trained administrator of our virtual services time bank. So those are the details. That's the value that you will get from all of this. So I'm going to make some guarantees, and I'm going to say this from a place of authenticity and of candidness. I have not achieved this yet. I do believe it's a matter of having the deep dive conversations to get to this point. So when I say this, I'm saying this from the beginning of the journey myself. But I have confidence in you. I have confidence in your journey, that if we're meant to connect, that these guarantees are really easy. They're very easy. And that's what I said earlier, a 7-figure return on investment for your time within 2 years. So, as we're transitioning, those who are at the beginning of this journey with me, I do see, a couple $1 million being generated from minimal participation in this within 2 years, because we're leveraging that knowledge of how time is extracted and how we can make it regenerative. I want to train other facilitator brokers, and I do believe that as we're clarifying the message, we can all enjoy a 6-figure annual income sharing this kind of information, exploring this, making it your own. The way I do it is going to be different than the way you do it. I'm going to refer to my friend Amelia Duran, who runs the podcast Porthole to Justice. She's been really putting a lot of this work out here and putting her artwork out there, making it her own. And I do believe that as we collaborate, you can make it your own, if it resonates with you. and you add in your material, you add in your contributions. That's kind of how it works. We reinvent this when a new person comes into the fold. Um, and yeah, and that's exactly what I mean. Implement what you're already doing, what you're passionate about. So if 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 we just kind of bring these ideas together, they're worth more than the sum of the parts. So that's why I'm very passionate about integrating other economic models, other conversational models, other infrastructural models. So it's not a matter of competing, models to see which one is the best. It's about, well, how do we integrate these? A supportive team. I guarantee that as we're going through this together and we're really having deeper conversations, your team will be supportive and you will feel like you're in a supportive environment. Um, Again, the independent study hours are redeemable. So regardless of whether or not you stick with the entire course, or regardless of any financial commitments or whatnot, your independent study hours are redeemable. So you'll be earning compound interest just by participating in the course. So I do have a set amount in mind for the course, which will take place over the course of about 1 to 2 months, depending on how much, whether you take one course or two courses. Um, so I do have a certain amount in mind that you can invest in either per month or all in one lump sum. It's not free, but I am going to offer that if you're really interested in it, to reach out to me, and I'll show you how to do that in a moment, and I'll give you a quote as to what value that I'm offering as we go from the extractive into the regenerative economy. But you know, I will guarantee that if you come to the end of it and you're not confident that you're going to earn seven figures, by the end of 2 years, I will give you all your money back, no questions asked. And the thing is, you'll still earn that anyway, regardless of whether you initially invest in my program or in this way. You'll still earn that, even if you back out. So, but it's the kind of thing where I ask everybody at the end of the course, if you complete the course, I'll ask you, do you have any doubts that you're going to make this? And if the answer is yes, I have doubt, then it's no problem. We'll just give that back. So what happens next? If you want to continue this journey with me, and you don't have to continue this journey with me, I offer this information freely. You can do whatever you want with this. But just email me at admin@karmicmargincall.com. In the subject line, just write the word questionnaire. I will send you a questionnaire, which is kind of like the questions I asked earlier in this presentation, but it's more tailored to you as an individual. And we start our conversation to explore if this is right for you, if our paths are meant to, coordinate here. So just take the questionnaire and email it back to me. Upon your completion, I will give you a program quote. And again, I'm not going to say what that is here, especially in a public broadcast like this, but really doing a check-in with myself. Remember, I've been in poverty, I've been homeless. I really wanted to make this program, accessible to everybody and affordable for everyone, because everybody really does have value. And if it's the kind of thing where, as we're going through the interview process and you filled out the questionnaire and it really feels like a fit, I'm not going to turn anyone away. And it's the kind of thing where I'm very confident in this system that, you can always contribute that amount, as you're earning your passive income as an owner of the time bank. Yeah, review the 5-year plan presentation. That's at karmicmargincall.com. That will tell you a little bit more about how our time bank works and how we intend to get from here to creating a $1 trillion economy at first, within 5 years. And yeah, please feel free to join the virtual services time bank. Just go to karmicmargincall.com and click here for an application. So there's a spot there for that. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for joining me it's a lot. It's a lot to do that in the morning, and I feel like I'm a little bit spent. My voice is going a little bit out now, but I'm very, very passionate about this work. So I look forward to meeting you and learning more about you, and just listening. Taking the time to just listen. And with that, I'm out. And have a wonderful, wonderful day, wonderful week, wonderful year, wonderful life. Take care.